back with part 2. On to the record finds, or record store finds, I should say. All right. First record. This is all in alphabetical order. Gene Loves GZIPL, Discover. This features the song Desire. And Gene Loves GZIPL are an alternative rock, goth rock band from the 1980s. And this is from 1986 on the Beggars Banquet label. I mainly got it for that song in particular. But all in all, this is a very good album. The song Desire, the album version, is very different from the single edit, or at least, I believe it's the single edit. Desire, Come and Get It, as it's referred to. It's a bit more upbeat. It's got more energy, the single version. But the version on record kind of is a bit more slow. It doesn't have a lot of energy. It's not as up-tempo, or I guess it just doesn't have, that same type of, it's a different kind of, sounding song. It's very different from the single edit. But regardless of that, it's still a good song, and but it's the whole album itself that is good. This is a good listen, and I'm happy to have this. Guadalcanal Diary. This is Flip Flop. This is their final album from 1989, and my third album by them that I've added to the collection. The other two are Walking in the Shadow of the Big Man and 2x4. And this album is not as good as those other two. It's still a good listen, nonetheless. But it seems like there's just, I think, something about the record that just isn't quite as good. It just doesn't hold up. But I got this mainly for the song Fade Out, which is a great, almost psychedelic tinged, Beatlesque kind of song. And when I say Beatlesque, I say that because lead singer Murray Attaway, when he sings vocals on it, it sounds a lot like, it's got this John Lennon vibe to it. And, that was kind of what I thought of when I first heard that song. And so, this is just some really good, it's good, good alternative rock, college rock, jangle pop music. And, I think this was also produced by Don Dixon, who had produced REM's first two albums alongside Mitch Easter. And I think that maybe if I give it a few more listens, I'll probably learn to like it a bit more. But still a good find. This one I'm really happy to have to add to the collection, and that's The Best of the Guess Who. This one, just an absolutely great compilation from beginning to end. This has all their best songs: These Eyes, Laughing, Undone, No Time, American Woman, No Sugar Tonight, New Mother Nature, Hand Me Down World, Bus Rider, Share the Land, Do You Miss Me Darlin', Hang On to Your Life. Just such a great compilation. Now, the only flaw with this record is that it doesn't feature on American Woman, it doesn't feature the opening section of the song. And sure, it's a bit disappointing, but it's nothing to cry about, really. But yeah, what more can you ask for from a band like the Guess Who? They're just one of the best Canadian classic rock bands ever. A couple Aussie rock albums. First being from Icehouse. This is Man of Colors from 1987 on Chrysalis. And this features the songs Crazy and Electric Blue. Those were the highlights of this album, you know, the big hits. Crazy is the reason why I got this album, because it's such a great song. This album in general, though, you know, it's one of those albums that I probably have to give a few more listens to really appreciate. It's not as good as the other Icehouse album I've heard, Primitive Man, but it's still a, you know, still a good listen, you know, and I'm happy to have some more by Icehouse because they're actually quite a good band. So, yeah. Some more by In Excess. This is The Swing, their fourth album. And as you can see, this is a promo copy, as it's written in felt marker. And it's also got this gold stamp promo to prove that it is actually a promo copy. And it is a gatefold. Here's the gatefold. So yeah, I mean, this album is where they were, I think, really starting to find their sound. Like I said before, with Listen Like Thieves, it's one of those albums that kind of broke the ice for them, but this is where they were really starting to mature as a band. Michael Hutchence, I think, was starting to find his voice here. For example, on you know, the big hit from this album, Original Sin, you can really sense that he was starting to find his voice right there, and kind of steer clear of or step out of that new wave sound. You know, I think it still had those, you know, new wave vibes clearly, but you kind of sensed that they were starting to get a bit more rockier. And yeah, there's some other really good songs on here. Melting in the Sun is a great song. I Send a Message, which is another song that should have been a hit. Dancing on the Jetty, The Swing, Johnson's Aeroplane, Love Is, What I Say, Face the Change, Burn for You, and All the Voices. You know, very good album by In Excess. I'm really happy to own this one finally, because In Excess are just a great Australian rock band. And these last two albums, first one I just grabbed just as I was about to leave. I stumbled upon this one. This is by the Arrows. This is Stand Back. This is some Canadian AOR new wave music. Surprisingly good, you know, a surprisingly good album. I mainly got this album for the song "Meet Me in the Middle," which is the big hit song off this. Great song. But there's some other really good songs on here. Fallen Angel, the title track, just really, really good AOR new wave Canadian rock music. And yeah, happy to have that. And this final one is by the band Riot. This is Born in America. And the thing is I didn't realize this was one of their least popular albums. This is not considered to be their best album. But you know, I grabbed it because it was Riot, and I've been wanting to get into some Riot for quite some time. Now, this is one of those albums that doesn't really have anything. I can't remember exactly what was truly a highlight. I think maybe there was some stuff that was good, but I can't remember which songs were really stood out. But it's, you know, regardless of it being not such a good album, it still has its moments, and I think maybe if I give it a few more listens, I think I can appreciate it. But you know, I probably need to do myself a favor and get their much more recognizable and much better stuff. But yeah, it's a start. So that's pretty much the record store finds, and I'll be back with part 3 of the rest of the stuff that I got from the mall. So stay tuned, and yeah, I'll be right back.